Football is back, and let us talk about game week 32. Before I even start, I want to say I think that the Premier League intentionally sets us up as Manchester United fans for dragging by the other fans. Because I don't understand why you would choose to schedule our game on Monday. And first of all, I hate these Monday night games because we tend to lose them, or we tend to not perform as expected. But yes, the Premier League set us up intentionally for these games so that other teams can drag us, because we haven't played in 3 weeks and you choose to put our game on a Monday. Why? Why would you do that? By the way, if this is your first time here on Red Sirens, please subscribe and help us grow. But let's dive right into the game. And I'm going to start with the Manchester United versus Leeds game. Last time we lost against Leeds, right, was in 2010 in an FA Cup game. The truth is that I don't see that changing. I don't see us losing to Leeds. This is why I say I don't see us losing to Leeds. Leeds are currently in a relegation battle. And you know how these teams who are in a relegation battle, they tend to trouble teams. They tend to win games when you don't expect it. But this will not be one of those games. Manchester United is currently in a good place, right? The players, they've been well rested, and you could probably say they've been over rested, and some of them might be rusty. I agree, but what happened was the club decided to take these players on I don't want to say it was a vacation or a preseason or whatever it is, but the players are currently away from Carrington, and they are doing this intense training camp where the goal is to keep the players sharp and fit and ready for this game. So those players are currently training and they're in a good spot. And against Leeds, I just don't see how we lose that game. The players we've been going on a good run. We're currently challenging for top 4. We want to qualify for the Champions League. So Leeds might be fighting for relegation, but we're also fighting for Champions League. And on top of that, we play at home. We have the home advantage. It is going to come into play. So I don't see how Leeds come to Old Trafford and get away with anything. They might as well just forfeit the game. Just give us the 3 points. Just take the 0 points. But yes, I am backing Manchester United to win. And I'm hoping that this is one of those games where, you remember the game against Leeds at Old Trafford when CR7 returned to the club? The game where we won, I think it was 4-1, and Pogba had about 4 assists. And Ronaldo had I don't know, but yeah, there was a game. No, that was Solskjaer. Yeah, Solskjaer and Ronaldo, yes. But I know that game, there was a game where Pogba had like 4 assists. I'm hoping that we can see something like that where Bruno comes up with lots of assists. Like I would absolutely love it. I would absolutely love for that to happen, because right now Bruno Fernandes is on a mission. Bruno Fernandes is on a mission, and I would love that to happen. And for the lineup against Leeds, I think that Carrick is going to go with the same lineup he usually goes with. I don't see him changing anything. I think he likes the players, he likes the lineup, so I don't think he's going to change anything in this game. And I like it. If it's not broken, don't change it. So there's no point changing the lineup. Go with the same players and get the win. That's all we're asking for. And for my score prediction, I'm going to be going with a 3-1 win. 3-1 win. And I'm predicting Bruno Fernandes to get at least an assist in this game. Let's see how it goes. For the next game, Arsenal versus Bournemouth, right? As an Arsenal hater, because I am a very big Arsenal hater. As an Arsenal hater, it pains me to say that I don't see Arsenal losing this game. I do not see them losing this game. Arsenal is just coming up a very big win in Europe against Sporting in the last minute, so their spirits are high. And secondly, Arsenal, they've already lost 2 trophies in the last 2 games. They know that this Premier League is what they currently have in their hands, and it is theirs to lose. I think Arsenal would rather get knocked out of Europe right now than go on to lose the Premier League, if you were to ask an Arsenal fan. So I think this game is not about let's rest players. We have a crucial game in Europe, because Arsenal knows that they cannot afford to drop points. The gap right now might be a 9-point gap, but City has a game in hand and City has to play Arsenal. If Arsenal lose this game, it becomes a 9-point gap, or if, let's say, if they get a draw, it becomes a 10-point gap with 2 games in hand, with Manchester City having 2 games in hand. If Manchester City wins those 2 games in hand, it becomes a 4-point gap. And if Manchester City now has to play Arsenal and they can beat Arsenal, it becomes a 1-point gap. Arsenal fans and Arsenal cannot take that risk. So I see a game where Arsenal is gonna, like, they will do everything to win this game. It's not even a question of Arsenal might lose, Arsenal might draw. I know Bournemouth has not, they have not won a game in the last 5, and they haven't lost a game, which means they've drawn their last 5 games. But I think this is where the streak ends. Arsenal is gonna win this game because they just cannot afford to lose. And the next game I want to talk about is Brentford versus Everton, right? And these are 2 teams that are currently fighting for Europe. They are currently fighting to qualify for Europe, and it's going to be a tough clash. In the previous game, Brentford won against Everton. They beat Everton 4-2, but that was at Everton's ground. But Brentford right now are currently going through a tough patch. They've been a little shaky. They got kicked out of the FA Cup recently, and I think they have won like 1 game in the last 5, if I'm not mistaken. And Everton, on the other hand, they've won 3 in the last 5. So Everton is in a good place. But like I said, it is going to be a tough clash. It's going to be a tough clash. 2 teams who do not like to keep the possession. They like to hit on the counter. So I'm just going to say I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know which angle it's going to go. I think Bournemouth are favored because they play at home. But I'm just looking forward to this clash. The next game I'm going to talk about is Burnley versus Brighton. One team is fighting for relegation and the other team is fighting to qualify for Europe. Burnley is fighting relegation. Brighton wants to qualify for Europe. And this is also going to be one of those games where it's going to be tough. I see an open game. There will probably going to be goals. But I think Brighton might just get it. It might just end in a tie, or Brighton might just edge this one, because Brighton has been picking up some form lately. They went through that tough patch, and I feel like they finally come out of there. They have started getting some results. So in my opinion, I think this is a game where Brighton might edge it. They might edge it a little bit, or it might just end in a tie. Burnley, I'm open to the surprise, but I'm backing Brighton to win. And the next big game I want to talk about is Liverpool versus Fulham. The people who have been going around saying that they've played 3 games and Manchester United has not played a single game. I need to remind you guys that since the last time Manchester United played out a draw, Liverpool has played 3 games and Liverpool has lost 3 games. As a Manchester United fan, I would rather not play than playing every day and crying every day. And I think Liverpool will still lose. I think Liverpool will lose against Fulham. I don't care, they play at home, but I think Liverpool will lose against Fulham. And if I'm Marco Silva right now, I'm looking at this Liverpool side and I'm like, okay, this is 3 points looking at me, to be honest. And this is why I say this is 3 points looking at me. And Slot right now knows that the game against PSG is probably his last game to decide if he's still going to be at Liverpool next season. When you look at Slot right now, he is under pressure to save his job. I don't care what anybody says. He is under pressure to save his job. But I think the job is unsavable right now. So he's going to go into this game and he's probably going to do the same shit he did against Man City, where he rested players, lost against Man City, and still went on to lose against PSG. So he might go into this game and he's cautious and thinking, okay, we're playing in the Champions League against PSG at home. Maybe we can give them a game, we can maybe sit this one out and play well against PSG. And it's just going to be free 3 points for Fulham. Fulham has not even been like a team where you say, okay, if Liverpool choose to go with all their players, I think Fulham is still going to trouble Liverpool regardless of the Champions League. But with the Champions League coming up, I just don't see how Liverpool win this game. I will be open to be surprised, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Liverpool has been playing back to back to back games. Also, fatigue. They have to manage those games. They have to manage the players' minutes. But Fulham has been well rested, and Liverpool has only won against them once in the last 5. They've won against them once in the last 5, and if you've not managed to beat them more than one time in 5 games, it is not when you're going through a tough patch that you will beat them. It is not right now with Liverpool going through this patch that they'll be able to beat Fulham. So I think Liverpool is going to go on to lose their 4th game in a row, and I think PSG will just come and make it 5 losses in a row. And I am looking forward to it. By the way, if you watched right up to this point, please, I'm begging, if you still haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share the video so we can create more content like this and we can talk more about football. The next game I want to talk about is Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. And Crystal Palace has just played in Europe, right? They played in Europe on Thursday in the Europa Conference League. So in my opinion, right, fatigue is going to creep in. We've seen this several times. We've seen it play out time and time again. When they played us, when we played them at their own ground, they had just played in Europe. We beat them. We beat them not because we were exceptional, but we beat them simply because they were tired. They looked off the pace. And we can argue that, okay, the players had some rest before playing in Europe, but still, Newcastle has had a lot of rest. And the tie is not over. Despite Crystal Palace beating Fiorentina 3-0, it is not over. So Crystal Palace is still thinking like, I don't want to get my players injured. I don't want to get my players too tired. So they want to manage the minutes as well. We've seen this several times. When teams have games in Europe, they tend to slow it down at home and they go into Europe with fresh legs, with players ready to play and all of that. It happens all the time. And I think we will just see the same thing here at Newcastle right now. They will be looking at this game like, okay, this is an opportunity for us to get 3 points and push ourselves closer to the Champions League, not Champions League, but to European spot. So I am backing Newcastle to get a win against Crystal Palace. Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Both played in Europe. Both still have return legs to play in Europe next week. It might go either way, but I think Aston Villa go into this one with a little advantage because they won their game, unlike Nottingham Forest, who drew their game. They won their game against Bologna, and their next game is going to be at home. I think they beat Bologna at home, but Nottingham Forest cannot say the same for Porto. Even though they play at home, they had a draw, so Porto knows that they have a very big chance. So I'm backing Villa has a slight edge over Nottingham Forest in this game. And the next game, right? Sunderland versus Tottenham. Sunderland versus Tottenham. Tottenham has just changed their coach, Roberto De Zerbi. I don't think Tottenham wins this game regardless of the new manager. You can talk about new manager bounce. You can talk about the players have had time off. Whatever you want to make of it, I don't see how Tottenham go into this game and come out on top. Sunderland plays at home. And if you follow them this season, you will know how tough it is to beat these guys when they play at home. I think they've only lost 1 or 2 games at home. The first game they lost at home was against Liverpool, and it was at a 1-goal difference, a 1-0. Like, it was a narrow win, a narrow defeat. Sorry. So I just don't see how Tottenham win this game because, first off, in my opinion, right, what is going on at Tottenham is not just down to the manager. It's one of those situations where you change the manager as much as you want. It will not just change. It just doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. At Manchester United, we have been through this. And, when you keep changing the manager, but you don't change those things behind the scenes, it will not work out. What is going on at Tottenham, in my opinion, if you ask me, I think it is down to the management and it is down to the players. Because you cannot imagine having a manager on the touchline who is trying to get his message across to the players, and the players just don't care. At Spurs right now, when I look at that team, I see players who don't want to play, who just don't care. You could probably go in there and say, okay, Richarlison, he plays like he cares. this guy in midfield, what's his name? There's this midfielder. Forgotten the name. I'll probably put it down in I'll probably put it down in the caption. He plays like he cares, but the rest of the players, I don't know. There might be one or two, maybe one or two more players in there who play like they care, but I just don't see it. The big one for me is Richarlison. That's the guy who gives all for the badge. But you see people like Mickey van de Ven taking stupid red cards, Romero taking stupid red cards, Mateus Tel, he wants to dribble the entire field. You know, maybe the manager can instill some character, some mentality into them. But in my opinion, what is just going on right now is not just down to the manager. A big part of it is the players and the management. And until that changes, I think Spurs might go down. Let's hope they go down, but they've brought in De Zerbi to keep them up. I don't know, but I hope they go down, because then it's one less fan base to deal with, you know. But the players, the mentality has to change. I don't see how they win against Sunderland. Sunderland is a different side when they play at home. They are very hard to beat, and that's why they find themselves where they are right now. So I am backing Sunderland to win this game. And the last game I want to talk about, right? And it's a big one. Chelsea versus Manchester City. This is another side where I'm going to be going into this game hate watching. And it is sad because as a Manchester United fan, I tend to find myself a lot this season supporting Manchester City. Not because I really like them, but because I just want them to win, and I'll prefer them to win over the team they play against. Chelsea, I think, is going to lose this game. Forget about everything we saw against Port Vale. That was just should I say, they were just putting up a show. Forget about now. This is where the real thing. This is the real thing. And Chelsea go into this game without Enzo Fernandez. In my opinion, he's arguably one of their best players this season, if not their best player, because he's contributed with the goals, the assists, the leadership. You know, he's been suspended. And one thing I was gonna ask is, why would you suspend Enzo Fernandez and not suspend Cucurella when they literally did say something similar? It doesn't make any sense. But yes, Enzo Fernandez is suspended for this game. Manchester City right now, I feel like they are starting to hit their strides. They are starting to win games. They're starting to win those games where it's like, okay, previously they will go into those games and we'll be like, okay, this game might be tough. But they are coming out on top. They won against Arsenal. They won against Liverpool, even though Liverpool made it so easy for them. And I think they will win against Chelsea, despite Chelsea playing at home. Chelsea just doesn't have that. Sorry about the interruption. My camera suddenly died on me. But like I was saying, right, I don't see this Chelsea side beating Manchester City because I just don't think they have the team right now. I know Liam Rosenor came out and said he believes that Chelsea can beat Manchester City. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody can beat anybody, but you have to go with what you're seeing in front of you right now. And this Chelsea side, they haven't just shown us enough to be like, okay, yes, this Chelsea can comfortably beat Manchester City. And on the other hand, like I was talking about Arsenal, Manchester City knows that they are still in the title race. They just need one slip from Arsenal for them. 7 games to go. 7 games is still a lot of games. Manchester City has a game in hand. If they win their game in hand, that's 6 points gap. They have to play Arsenal. If they win Arsenal, that's 3 points gap. Arsenal just needs to lose 1 game and they catch up. So Manchester City is going into this game to win, and they know that Chelsea is that opponent with whom they can easily get 3 points from. So I'm backing Manchester City. And one game I did not talk about is the West Ham versus Wolves, right? They played today at the time of me shooting this video. They play in a couple hours. I think West Ham is going to win. West Ham is going to win. That's all I'm going to say. So for my predictions, I said Man United to win, Arsenal to win, Brentford versus Everton. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I'm backing Brentford to have the slight edge. Burnley, Brighton, another tight one, but I think Brighton gets the edge. Liverpool, Fulham, I think Fulham wins. Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Newcastle win. Nottingham Forest, Villa, Aston Villa to get the advantage. It's going to be another tight one. Sunderland, Tottenham, Sunderland to win. Chelsea versus Manchester City. Manchester City to win. Let me know what you don't agree with and who you think I got wrong, and let's see how it goes. But like I said, if this is your first time here, or if you've been here and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and support the channel, and also let me know your score predictions in the chat.